Today on Rappler. Re-electionist Senator Imee Marcos withdraws from President Marcos's campaign slate. China distances itself from talk Rodrigo Duterte sought asylum in Beijing. Senate President Cheese Escudero rejects a House request to compel Vice President Sara Duterte to respond to her impeachment complaint. Veteran lawyer Estelito Mendoza died at the age of 95. And, now it's revealed, Pope Francis came very close to death while battling pneumonia. Presidential sister and re-electionist Senator Imee Marcos pulls out of her brother President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas. This, days after her brother left her name out during the Alyansa campaign rally in Cavite. Senator Marcos laments how her brother's alter egos and law enforcement officials appeared to be hiding essential facts and repeatedly invoking executive privilege and sub judice rule. She says, quote, "Thus, I cannot stand on the same campaign platform as the rest of the Alyansa. I have stated from the outset of the election period, I will continue to maintain my independence." This is not the first time the senator withdrew from the Alyansa slate. Alyansa campaign manager Navotas Representative Toby Tiangco says they respect Imee's decision and wishes her luck in the campaign. The senator has long tried to straddle being a Marcos while also being a close ally of the Duterte clan. Reacting to Philippine news reports that former President Rodrigo Duterte sought asylum in China but was rejected, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun says, "We have never received the so-called application for asylum to the Chinese government from former President Rodrigo Duterte or his family." This nearly 2 years after Chinese President Xi Jinping met with former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte in July 2023, a day before the International Criminal Court decided to continue investigating Duterte's alleged crimes. Duterte's close aides also denied there was an attempt to seek asylum in China, while Malacanang said it had no knowledge of any asylum request. China does not have a national asylum law or system. As of this posting, Beijing remains silent about Duterte's arrest and transfer to the ICC. Senate President Cheese Escudero rejects the request of House prosecutors to issue a writ of summons to Vice President Sara Duterte, which will direct her to respond to the verified impeachment complaint against her. Escudero says Congress is on break and the Senate has not convened as an impeachment court. The Senate President reiterates no impeachment trial will occur during the break, reaffirming his proposed start date of July 30. Duterte was impeached by the House on February 5, the final session day before Congress began its 3-month break for the midterm elections. The session is set to resume on June 2. Meantime, Escudero says he believes Philippine sovereignty was not compromised in the International Criminal Court's arrest of ex-President Rodrigo Duterte. He notes Duterte has no cases pending before local courts, indicating that the jurisdiction of Philippine judges were not disregarded. Veteran lawyer Estelito Mendoza, who handled high-profile cases for former Philippine presidents, passed away on Wednesday, March 26. He was 95. The Philippine National Bank, where Mendoza served as director since January 1, 2009, confirms his death. Mendoza served as legal counsel for at least 4 Philippine presidents: Ferdinand E. Marcos, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, Joseph Estrada, and Ferdinand Marcos Jr. During the time of the late dictator Marcos, he held cabinet positions including Justice Secretary and Solicitor General. Mendoza was the legal counsel for Marcos and his wife Imelda when the government filed cases against them for ill-gotten wealth. He also served as chief counsel in the impeachment trial of former President Joseph Estrada, who was convicted of plunder but later pardoned. The late lawyer also handled the plunder case of Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Juan Ponce Enrile related to the multi-million pork barrel scam. In a Facebook post, Enrile expressed grief over the loss of his best friend. Most recently, he represented Vice President Sara Duterte in cases involving confidential funds. Pope Francis came so close to death at one point during his 38-day stay in the hospital battling pneumonia. The head of the Pope's medical team says his doctors considered ending his treatment so he could die in peace. Sergio Alfieri, a physician at Rome's Gemelli Hospital, says, quote, "There was a real risk that he might not make it," after a breathing crisis on February 28, where the Pope almost choked on his vomit. Pope Francis returned to the Vatican and made his first public appearance on Sunday after the most serious health crisis of his 12-year papacy. His doctors prescribed 2 months' rest to allow his body to fully heal. He was admitted to the Gemelli Hospital on February 14 due to double pneumonia. And that's today's wrap. I'm Kara Oliver. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. Follow us on Rappler's YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok.